Yeah, go for it. All right, here we
We're
go.
live.
Hey guys, we're live. All right, I'm Erica Osborn. I'm with the Think Real Estate team. We're a local team here in Hampton Roads who specialize in working with investors. That's about 90% of our clientele. Claudio Valdivia, Andrea Barrett, and myself. And I am in the shadow of the fabulous Alex Breshears, private lender, investor, teacher extraordinaire. She's going to school you guys on real estate resumes. And I'm kind of just going to, nip at little pieces here and there and fill in any gaps, which she won't leave any, but I'll add whatever value I can to it.
Yes.
But all right, so welcome here to preparing a real estate resume for investors. We're gonna keep this as short and concise as possible, leave some room for some questions at the end. We're kind of gonna go through the format of what a real estate resume is. We're going to give some examples of some different styles and different types of it, and then we'll finish it on up and wrap up with any questions if anybody has any. So really to get started again, Erica Osborn, Think Real Estate team. What makes me qualified to even host this? I'm an investor myself, and you'll get a chance to get a glimpse into some of the things that I've prepared for lenders, partners, speeches isn't the right word, but presentations on kind of my track record and get a view into the things I've created to get into the doors and chat with the people that I've chatted with in my career. And then a few other few other examples from some investor pals of mine for stuff that they've put together. So again, Alex Breshears, we're both proud military spouses, not military spouses. So it's very rare to find two spouses who invest in the same, in the same arena and are interested in the same thing. So that's really nice. So Alex, super jazzed to have you coming in on this venture with me. So we're gonna head right in, guys, to the topic. Right, topics covered in real estate resume. So Alex, next slide. Here we go. All right. So really, this is what Alex is gonna run down, and then I'm gonna pop in there. So defining a real estate resume, what is it? It means different things to different folks, whether that's a quick bio, a detailed resume, more of a track record piece. That's really going to depend on your audience, which will be a part of it too. Information to gather. What sort of items do you need to get together in order to put on these documents, these living documents? Identifying your audience, because that's going to make a difference for what you put in your real estate resume. And again, in the examples, specifically my examples, you'll see exactly what audience I was going for in each of the things that I put together. How to present, what sort of media or medium, or in today's world, it can be a web page, a Facebook business page, potentially it could be an Instagram, if it's professional enough. Maybe you're just more social and relaxed, and your Instagram is the way that you show everything to everybody. So that's a perfectly valid way, as long as you feel that it represents you and how you want to do your business. So there's many different ways to go about showing your real estate experience, or lack of real estate experience, but experience in other realms that's going to help you in real estate to begin with. How to get good feedback, a couple questions to ask, to your folks that you ask for feedback on these documents. It can be kind of vulnerable to ask your friends and family, for honest feedback on something that you're passionate about and that you're working toward. So, and let's see. Oh yeah, what's next after it's done? Now you got this real estate resume. What the heck do you do with it? So I'm going to throw it here to Alex. She's going to talk the nitty-gritty details in it, and then we'll whip back around and I'll come back in for my examples. So Alex, take it away.
All right, everybody. So first off, I want to say real estate resume is not exactly an industry standard term. I know real estate really likes its acronyms and funny little words for things. So I can't 100% guarantee if you walk up to somebody else and they're going to go, I've got my real estate resume, have you? And they're not going to know what you're talking about. So it's just something that I personally use, because I know on one hand, a lot of people that are getting involved in real estate, the newer people, they might still be relying on a W-2 job. So that resume is obviously going to look a little bit different than your real estate resume. So that's why I generally call it real estate resume, because me as a lender, I want to see what your experience is. Yes, I care about what you do as your day job, but I want to see what your experience is specifically related to real estate. So that's why I call it real estate resume. That's generally what I'm going to ask to see. And basically, it's going to follow a very similar format to having your professional W-2 resume. So it's going to cover things like your contact information. And I cannot stress this enough. Please make a professional email address. I don't care if it's just a Gmail address. I once had an investor send me some information from one hot cookie at AOL.com. So please don't do that. Like that just, it's a little attention to detail that really, doesn't look real good if you can't pay attention to that one little attention to detail. If you have a website, go ahead and include that and make sure that the website, is up to date, that it's current, that's going to portray you as you are right now. So if it says something about the spring and it's fall, make sure you have that information updated. And then next little block down, if you want to think about that as a resume, have different blocks for jobs. This would be different blocks for different information. After contact would be your overall stats. So if you have some experience or extensive amount of experience, you're going to want to put things that are relevant to the audience that you're talking to. For example, if you are a fix and flip investor and you're trying to get funding because you now try a BRRRR, you want to do some buy and hold for some passive income, you might want to include stats that show that you've done this fix and flip, you've had X amount of deals, your average days on market, whatever happens to be pertinent information that would show quote unquote success in the fix and flip model. You want to show those overall stats. Also mention the markets that you've worked in. So if you work in multiple markets or the audience that you're talking to isn't local. So for example, if you're talking to a private lender that isn't familiar with Hampton Roads, maybe not calling it Hampton Roads, maybe calling it an actual city, the cities that you've worked in. So if you've done fix and flips in Virginia Beach and Suffolk and up in Hampton, you might want to mention those cities specifically as opposed to just saying Hampton Roads, because that tends to be kind of a colloquial term in this area. And then obviously financing options that were used. So if you have a history of working with private money, for example, you want to be able to show someone else, if you're giving this presentation to someone because you're having interest in having them do private money, obviously you're going to want to show that you've done deals in the past with private money, they've gone well, they've been successful. And then next little block down, obviously your investing goals for why. It doesn't have to go into extreme detail. It doesn't have to be super personal. Just kind of, it builds into your brand as an investor, builds into a part of your brand as a company, if you've managed to form an LLC or if you're doing this through an LLC, because people are going to connect with people. People are not going to connect with paper. So you want to make sure that your brand and your story are accurately portrayed on this real estate resume above and beyond just the normal stats and market, and here's where they go. You want to make sure that they have something that they can connect with, because obviously nobody's going to care how much you know unless they know how much you care. So you want to make that human to human connection. So whatever you're comfortable disclosing to the general public for your why, go ahead and add that sort of information. And then depending on the type of audience that you're speaking to, for example, I had private lending on here. You can maybe say a little bit about how private lending is going to get you closer to that goal. Or if you're looking for a partner to JV with, how a partner is going to help you get closer to that goal. So you can kind of tie in the purpose of this real estate resume, the purpose of this meeting all together. And then next one would be a little bit more detailed breakdown of the past projects. And this is especially helpful in something that if you're putting together a PowerPoint presentation, maybe this is information on your website. Some people will put this on their Facebook page for their company and say, scroll through, this Facebook page. I'll have before and after photos. I put all the numbers for my deals on there, everything. So it's just basically a quick little rundown. So someone can kind of, breeze through pretty quickly and say, oh, they've done this, they've done this, they've done this. Here's the numbers. Again, it's just a matter of which numbers are you disclosing, really depends on the audience and the type of deal that you're currently looking for or the type of deal you've done in the past. And then obviously any sort of financial information, and this one's kind of the big variable because again, this is obviously going to vary depending on the audience. If you're looking for someone to do private lending with, they're going to want to know these things. They're going to want to know what your credit standing's like. They're going to want to know what your liquid assets are, the equity you might have in property, the just kind of rough overall picture of your debt, especially if you're working through an LLC. They're going to want to see that information has been established for an LLC. Does it have an EIN number? Does it have an operating agreement? Things like that. Whereas if you were just looking for someone to potentially do a JV deal with, or you're looking to get an established relationship with a real estate broker, they don't necessarily need to know all that information. So one of the things Erica will show you a little bit later in the presentation is a couple different examples for how this real estate resume might look different for different audiences. And then, so we have an idea of what this is. Now we have to build it. And that tends to be the hard part. Everybody likes to absorb the information, and now we have to take action. So basically just sit down, and I highly, highly, highly advocate doing this in a place where you're not rushed. You're not, trying to cook dinner, and you're not trying to do the laundry and do these other things and feed the dogs. You just have, even if it's just 20, 30 minutes, just some time to sit down and really just think about what you want to include, the information you want to disclose, who you want that information disclosed to, and then just start writing. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't even have to be written. If you just want to start typing, I personally like rough drafts and handwriting, so I can kind of scribble and add notes, and I get a little crazy with it. So just, it could be sit down with a notebook, it could be sit down with an iPad, doesn't really matter. But the other thing that I advocate probably early on is trying to establish how you're going to present this information. Are you going to put together an actual resume, like a Word document or a PDF? Are you going to put together something that's a PowerPoint, something that's a website? Because that's going to kind of dictate, how you're going to gather the information. So for example, if you're doing a PowerPoint or a website, I usually advocate putting all the photos for that just kind of in one folder, take some time, kind of peruse through however you store your photos for your projects, and put grab the best 2 to 4 for each project and just put them all in a folder together. So that way, when you go to actually build the thing, all the photos are there. You're not having to go through 6 different, areas, maybe this flash drive, that website, whatever, wherever you store the photos. And then you want to write out the specifications for each property. So, the bedrooms and bathrooms and square feet and how many days it was on the market and what the purchase price was, what the sale price was, how much it's rented for, if it's a BRRRR, or buy and hold, something like that. And then obviously those types of details are going to be kind of specified according to what you're trying to do. So if you have a great history of being a turnkey operator, you bought a whole bunch of turnkey rentals, but now you're looking to do fix and flips, obviously those turnkey rental details, those numbers might not be as crucial to someone who's looking to work with you, because it's sort of a completely different way of investing. So again, it's a matter of what your goals are and what your audience is. But you also want to be specific on the types of properties you're looking to buy. So just sit down and think about the market, the price range, size, how much of a rehab you're willing to take on. Are you, ready to take out the entire subfloor and put new joists and new electric? Or are you more like, oh, let's just do paint and carpet? Or are you somewhere in between? And really sit and think about, how much rehab are you willing to take on? And do you have a crew? Do you have a team in place? And if you don't, that might be a good time to stop and think about, okay, I need to start building my team. Because if you go out there and you find a deal and you find a private lender and you find a broker to work with, but you don't have, some of that foundation team like a contractor, that's going to cause some backlog. That's going to be reflected poorly on you if you can't get the rehab done on time, or it's done well, for example. So that's also a good opportunity to sit down and evaluate the team that you currently have in place. And then Erica's going to talk about this a little bit, but also identifying your audience. So you could be giving this presentation to people that you might want to joint venture with, passive investors, if you're doing syndication, for example. Again, contractors, if you are in a position where you're doing a whole bunch of fix and flips and you're looking for a particular contractor team to basically keep busy time after time after time, you might want to have some sort of conversation with that contractor and say, look, if I can keep you busy the entire time, can I negotiate some sort of, discount, some sort of bulk, busy discount, whatever that happens to be. Real estate agents and brokers. This cannot be underestimated, because if you think about it, these people are barraged all day long with people calling, wanting things, they have problems, they need to sell, contracts are falling through, whatever it happens to be. So they are very, very busy people that have to be very detail oriented. So if there's some way where you can kind of quickly just present who you are in a very succinct manner that's, eye-catching, professional looking, that's going to go a long way to setting you apart from everyone else who's trying to get the same thing from these people. This is also a great opportunity for hard money lenders and private lenders, again, because they're going to want some sort of just quick snapshot on who you are as an investor. Just from a private lending perspective, if I'm loaning on a first lien position, for example, for me, it's about 80% about the property and about 20% about the borrower. So, I mean, that it's a little bit less, obviously, if, you're doing, if you have tons and tons of experience, that borrower perspective, does lend a lot of credibility. So it might be a little bit more than 20%. But if I'm loaning in the second lien position, for example, because I do gap funding also, that switches. So then it becomes 80% about the borrower and 20% about the actual property. So the real estate resume is really something I'm going to look for and say, does this person have the experience? And then the other thing about the real estate resume is it's a way for me to do due diligence on that person. So if they go and say they've done 15 fix and flips in a certain area, I should be able to go to the county records or the city records, public records, and see that, yes, there were deeds that were, in that person or that property or that company's name that match, what they're telling me. And if it doesn't, we can have a conversation on why it doesn't. Sometimes these institutional lenders, like local private banks, local community banks, they really want that kind of professional tied together persona in their office. So it's really great if you can go and present something professional to them. That would be an instance where I'd say have something in print, have an actual something a little more stereotypical resume ready for them. And so that you can just go, when you go into the meeting to talk to them about financing or talk to them about a commercial portfolio loan, you can just go and say, oh, look, I also have this. I have all these other things. This is the history of what I've done. Look at all the experience I have. And then obviously, if you're looking to do any sort of, real estate joint venture or, getting a loan from friends or family, they're going to want to see obviously some documentation on your professional side. They already know you as a person, they might trust you as a person, have no problems, love you to pieces, but they might know nothing about real estate. They might know nothing about you as a real estate investor. So in those cases, that's especially important. And then we talked about this a little bit, and you can do all of these, you can do none of these. I've had so many people present so many different things in different ways. And again, you can change it up according to who your audience happens to be. But some of the ones I have seen, people have created basically private websites. So it's just, go to this website and they'll share the address with me, and it'll have everything that I ever needed to know about this person and all their properties and all their, details and everything. PowerPoint presentation is always good. Again, that's something that you can update pretty quickly. So if you're someone that's doing multiple deals and you're kind of in a dynamic situation where you're trying to keep it updated but working with multiple audiences, having a couple different versions of a PowerPoint presentation. So every time you close on a new deal or get a new contract, you can just spend 5-10 minutes, add another slide in there and go, here's the latest deal, I'm looking for funding, and then email it off to somebody. Facebook business page. Again, that's not necessarily going to be private. So it's a matter of what information are you happy having publicly disclosed on the internet. So a Facebook page might be good for kind of like lead generation. If somebody's interested in working with you, you can kind of go, okay, look at this page, this will give you some information. It'll have your contact, your private contact information. If you're interested in, have any questions about what's on there, please contact me kind of thing. I can't imagine a whole lot of people would like a whole lot of their financial information disclosed on a Facebook page. That's why I say, pick and choose your audience. I've had people do shareable PDFs. So having like a PDF in their Google Drive that, again, they can just continue to add to as their experience changes and their properties change. And then some people, I actually had someone do this. They can create a YouTube video about themselves, and they can either do it as a presentation, something like this, where they're hearing you talk about slides or something else, or you could do an actual presentation where it's you, sitting behind the desk and going, here you go, here's what I want to do. And that might be a little bit better to have that human connection, that human interaction. But again, you might be the type of person who's just very uncomfortable being, on camera. So that might not necessarily be an option for you on that regard, but just trying to find something, a medium that's going to put you in front of your audience. So for example, if the people you are trying to quote unquote sell to, think about if you're trying to find a private lender for a buy and hold. Generally that group of people, they might want just a steady stream of income. They want that, long-term, something that's not tied to the stock market. So they might want something that's going to be a buy and hold for 5 years. They'll give you a loan for 5 years. It might be coming out of their 401k, their self-directed IRA or something like that. I assure you that particular group of people, probably not on TikTok, probably not on Instagram. Most likely they'll probably be on LinkedIn if they are on social media. You might have a shot at reaching them through YouTube. So it's a matter of what your audience is going to also kind of help dictate what your medium for getting that information to them, or at least getting the opportunity in front of them to give them the presentation. And then Erica is going to talk about specific tweaks, and she's going to give you some examples of what she's changed for her particular presentations that she does for different audiences.
All right, guys, in reality, you know who you're presenting to and you know who you are. So nothing I present will be, I think, disingenuous is the word that I want to use. So for me, if anyone here knows me, you'll probably see my personality in my presentations, and that's just kind of how it goes for me. I'm all about building rapport with the lender, but it's also rapport through how you represent yourself and how you show up. And I tend to be just a little more relaxed and social, but at the same time, my experience and my background is very like numbers, professional, oriented. So sometimes too, my resume that you're going to see in here, doesn't always match up with what people think I'm going to, what people think I'm going to be. So audience specific tweaks, Alex talked about gathering all that information. All that information needs to be in one spot. However, how you put it together, again, you can pull and place certain things that make sense for certain people. So again, document changes versus presentation changes, document, again, your friends and family, you want them to take you seriously and see it in more of a professional sort of situation, but at the same time, they know you as a person. So, you want to get into what you're doing, how you're learning in the industry, what you've done. Track record's going to be important because they're going to want to see those fun examples. Everybody loves before and after photos, for track record stuff, for sure. But, again, these are people who you're on a relaxed, more basis with. So in my opinion, you might want to, up the professional a little bit because maybe they haven't seen you in that light before and they just know you as, I don't know, Brian, who farted when he opened the fridge one time when he was little. Like, that's just the deal. They want to see you in a different light maybe. So professional colleagues, again, more business, because this is it is a business. That's the deal. Well, you are potentially mixing, friends and family and business. So there needs to be fine lines, but at the same time, it's a business. You want to come off as professional, and you want to be professional about it and have that pride in what you're doing and what you're offering. Presentation changes, again, passive investors, like we have here, lead generation, creating that funnel for yourself. So maybe that looks more like a website, to give people some sort of, again, track record for the projects that you've done, the things that you're going to be doing in the future, so they could sign up, and send you their email, and then you can start them on a campaign or whatever that looks like. Friends and family, again, Zoom talk, coffee, deliver your resume in person if you're asking for something, to somebody. Real estate network, of course, website, video, PowerPoint. It's just going to be dependent on who that audience is. So let me get into a couple different examples. I think here's where I have to share my little screen, so hang tight. All right, so the first one that I'm going to go into is, we're kind of going to talk about like professional bios, right? So I have a couple of bios here. There's one that's a little more detailed, one that's a narratives type of bio, and then there's my my bio that I have. So of course I didn't label it appropriately for some reason. Where's my little name on mine? I don't know. I guess, let me see what this is. Sorry guys, where the heck is my, hang tight everybody. Now you get to, oh crap, I'm even on the wrong thing. Dang it, that's my favorite bio. All right, hang tight everybody. So this is just how this world is gonna go at the moment. So I just gotta pop into my hard drive.
And this is exactly why I said put everything you want to share in one folder, like
Oh,
when you're putting your
Alex,
presentation together.
I thought that I did put it all in one folder.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one thinking it.
Wait, what did you say? What was it?
Great.
The jokes folder. That's what I want to. Let's explore that folder.
I have a goats folder. I know exactly what it is if I have it.
J-O-K. Yes.
Oh, jokes. Okay, those are real estate jokes. So don't judge me for it, all right? But yes, those are real estate jokes. Let me see what this Erica Osborn bio is. If this is what I want it to be. Sorry, guys. Oh no, but that works too. But that's not it. All right, hang tight, everybody. Again, I thought that I moved this where I needed it to go. Now you guys all get to see the inner workings of my hard drive. Don't look.
You can stop sharing the screen.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Everybody close your eyes. All right, now I'm under pressure now. Okay, so this is where it is. Here's where it is. All right, where are we? How can it look different? Guys, keep your eyes closed. Here it is.
Well, I think we can just see you, so I think you're
Oh,
safe.
good. Okay.
You need to start sharing your screen again.
Oh, good. Sorry, guys, you had to stare at me. I'd rather you see the inner workings of my hard drive. All right. Here we go. So this is what I would consider my bio. So this is kind of a touch point if I'm just touching on a lender for the first time, or let's say I'm sending somebody a deal to look at. Again, if I'm partnering with somebody, they're gonna know me ahead of time, and so they're gonna get to kind of know the details and the nitty gritty. So this is just kind of light and fluffy, right? So this is one from a couple of years ago that I set. So for me, again, I like some personality to be on it. I'm hitting on personal, professional, and then my rental projects. Because in this particular one, I was trying to get some funding out on a bird deal. So I wanted them to kind of see a couple of the things that I had going on and I had done successfully. So for me, I like to include a headshot because I'm in real estate. Real estate's all about freaking headshots. So that's just the deal. So, and it's nice, when somebody puts a little face with it. With your name. So I have my contact information on there. I do have a link, on my PDF that goes straight to my LinkedIn. And really, if you want to know more detail about me from this, you're going to click that link and you're going to go straight to my LinkedIn page, which has my super detailed bio that kind of mirrors my resume. So here, again, personal. So the things I put in here, personal are, I'm not going to put something really crappy about myself. These are all good things. Excellent credit score, passionate about real estate, relationship skills that'll blow your mind. Like add your personality to it a little bit, because you don't want it to be just, another boring thing that people see. Professional, things now that are going to kind of correlate with real estate or your professional background. Maybe you don't have any real estate experience, but maybe you've managed a project in your company, that was like, you want measurable items too. So like me, 15 years of accounting experience, 13 years of experience in real estate. So there's kind of some measurable items in there. It's not, I don't have a whole ton in here of measurable items. I have updated it when I was going after my most recent acquisition. However, this is just what I happened to open for my hard drive. So back off, guys. So anyway, this is just a professional bio. This is what I would send along initially. So a lender's going to want a little more deep dive, right? So then you go in and you send them a little something different, which now I got to figure out how the heck to get out of here. All right. Can you guys do you see my screen, Alex? Are you still seeing my screen?
I see the reborn still. Yeah.
Okay, so we clicked on over. I'm actually since we're gonna stay on the topic of bios. You just saw my bio. So this is a narrative bio, one of my investor pals, Jonathan knew. So this has a picture on it with a verbal bio about.
We're still seeing your reborn. You got to put it on the other screen.
Oh, sorry guys. I'm an amateur at this Zoom stuff. I can act like I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. All right, hang tight. All right, my screen sharing is paused. Resume share. Are you guys back? Oh,
Now we see you.
I mean, that's a lovely sight too. All right, so let's go here. How about that?
There we go. Now we see Jonathan.
Jonathan, okay, so this is a narrative bio, which nothing is wrong with this bio. Again, this is a bio is just an intro to you, right? So let's say you're gonna do a podcast. You're gonna introduce yourself to somebody. You have a little meeting set up with somebody to talk to them about a potential something. Send something ahead of time so they can get to know a little bit about you, and you can have some talking points, or they can have some talking points. So Jonathan here, though, you can see he uses measurables, like legit measurables. It says closing 3 multifamily syndications of 143 units total. Wow. Overseeing 1.33 million in renovations in both residential and commercial. So these are like power, kick butt, little pieces. Lenders eat it up all day long. This is a way to kind of create a track record, but do it in a more narrative stance. So that's just another example of a bio. So now, I thought if it was on my folder, we would just be all good. It's going to be feedback for this, guys. It's just Erica doesn't know how to use Zoom.
Hey, everybody has to start somewhere.
There. I feel like I've done more of these than this. All right, so let's see here. Here we go. All right, so this one, this is a big multifamily guy, right? So this is what he would consider his real estate resume. Okay, so you kind of see how it's built a little bit.
We're seeing your folders.
How come I can see my screen? Stop share, pause share, new share. Here we go. Sorry guys, user error. Anyone knows me, it's probably pretty classic. Can you see it now?
I see your folders.
All right, anything?
There we go. Now we can. Now we can.
All right, this is, I would say a nightmare, but that's super dramatic. However, all right, another example, Garrison Gilbert, big multifamily guy. This is what his bio is. We had to bring him in on a deal that we did. This is what he sent over for the lender to kind of give proof of experience and proof of track record. So you see, it kind of has a little, little snippet about himself up here at the top. And then you go into real estate history, other mentions, things that are real estate specific here. And his is very just bullet pointed out. And then you finish down here, with your contact, and he finishes up with a photo down at the bottom. But, finish with your contact sort of stuff. So every which way, everybody can get a hold of you, because you darn well know they're going to hunt you down. If they're looking to do lending with you, if they're looking to partner with you, they're going to find you. Just give them all of your social social spots that you want them to go anyway. So they might not go digging around for your Instagram handle, which is like Alex's email, a one cookie or something like that. So give them what they're looking for.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
So, all right, can you see my folder, guys? Are we on my folder?
No, we
yet?
still see. No, we see Garrison.
All right, so hang tight, because I think I'm going to go in and hopefully do it better. Now you see my folder, right?
Yes. Now we see your
Okay.
folder.
Sorry. All right, so now we're going to go into a little more real estate specific longhand resume. So we're going to start with mine. It's going to look like, can you see it? Or you see my folder?
We see the folders.
Zoom needs to work this out. I would normally say this is an Erica issue. Zoom needs to work this out. Okay, coming back in, guys, new share. All right, so this is me, right? This is my real estate resume. So this is everything that I happen to have a lot of real estate experience. Not all in investing, but I happen to have a lot of real estate centric experience. So for me, mine is long-winded with a whole bunch of measurables, right? So it starts, at the bottom, of course, you have your education, things that are relevant about you and kind of how I, got to where I was going, my education, my my college education. If you don't have that there, that's no big deal. And then I kind of start my, my trail of commercial real estate and all the measurables that go along in with it. Again, mine is way too long-winded, but at the same time, guys, lenders eat this stuff up. They want to see all those measurables. They're going to be like, man, 3 pages of, experience in this. All right, this girl kind of knows what she's talking about, or at least it appears that way because of all these beautiful measurables. And in the military, these would be my bullets on my EPR right here. These are all my bullets. So somebody's going to go, to these to look and validate my experience. So I have a couple other examples of people's actual resumes. I promise I'll get better at this. So this is, again, let's go back to Jonathan, where we saw his narrative bio before. Now I know that I have to go out and come back in, guys. So his looks like this. It's shorter. It's more, it's more bulleted. He's hitting the fact that he, has an LLC that's taken part in all these different ventures. It just kind of hits on real estate ownership specific. So again, this is based on, your audience that you're doing. For Jonathan, this is probably a capital raise, sort of resume. And so this is everything he's done. He's active duty military. So this is him focusing on, this is my stuff to do with real estate specific. And guys, if you Google, even you guys have, I'm sure, all put together a resume. You're just really eliminating everything but your relevant experience that could help you in the real estate world. So let's go to one more. Which, let me open it up. And then we'll get into the fun stuff, which is like the track record stuff. So this is, okay. This is my pal Larry's, his resume, and he's a CPA, right? So in reality, a CPA is a wonderful background to have when coming into real estate, right? So you want to hit on some of those points as well. If you have a very complementary career coming into it, or any form of leadership or project management, things of that nature, highlight on those, hit on those. So you can kind of see, he hits heavy on accounting, which is amazing. People, again, anything that lenders, partners, private lenders like Alex, they eat all that stuff up. It's about presenting yourself in a professional manner that you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're connected to who knows what they're doing. And you have a plan on how to learn, what you're going to learn, and what you want to do with it. So lenders just like to see that you're organized. I know it doesn't appear that I'm organized at this moment, but remember, I'm working on a tiny tablet. All right.
And I also like that Larry's has a little bit of that narrative at the top, but then also has the resume at the bottom. So you can kind of mix both in together and maybe make it a little more applicable to a wider audience.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what you saw on Garrison's as well. He had that as well. So for me, now I'm going to go into a little bit of my track record stuff. If you don't have a track record and you're trying to create a real estate resume, that's not a big deal. Obviously if you do have one, you want to include it. Things that come along with a track record, I think like Alex said, you have your before and after pictures. You have financials that, if they're available, and depending on your audience, not everybody, for lack of a better term, not everybody deserves to see, all the information about your projects. For me, I put together a presentation for the Invest Her group, and it kind of went through my career in real estate and everything that I had done. Sorry, I have a cat trying to dig its way out of my office. Hang tight.
The life of Zoom.
It's just, he was gonna do that forever. So, all right. So we're gonna go into my track record that I created. And this is very social. Like, this is not necessarily professional, but on the multifamily that we just closed on, the lender asked me if I had my track record. And I said, you know, I have something together that I created for a presentation that I did. And I said, but I want you to let you know it's real, just like it's informal. You know, it was in a social environment, it's informal. She's like, well, just let me see it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to send it over. Like, I don't want to take the couple hours to make it look super professional. So I'm hoping, can you see my screen right now, Alex?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this is my little presentation that kind of takes me through. So this is my PowerPoint. This is my PowerPoint for my presentation that I did with the the investor crowd. And this is what I sent to that multifamily lender. However, remember, I already had built a little bit of relationship and they wanted to see my track record. And I prefaced it with, this is informal, please remember that. And they had already seen my resume. They had already seen my bio. It's just, that's me with a little pretzel stick. So this kind of just, it goes into, my real estate life, how I came into real estate, my jobs that gave me the experience that I have that's applicable to real estate, how investing came into the picture. And it kind of just walks through everything that I did. So 2011, this is when I started investing, what my projects have looked like. So it walks through every single deal and it tells you how I funded it, the outcome, the cash flow, the final outcome. If I made a profit on it, lessons learned from it. Deal 2, deal 3, deal 4. Yeah, you don't get those fancy before and after photos, but I have stuff that scratches that itch as well. So this is more just about basics of what is coming out of these. And so again, I like to present things with a little sense of humor. Here's an animal down at the bottom from the Muppets. That's like from my generation. He's adorable. And if you're not going to like it, maybe you're a lender I don't want to deal with. So then, then I talk about my big guy and my, big current project of mine. And I kind of go into the details a little bit more. But people also want to see, that you have personality. My resume can look, rather boring if you look at it in long form, but I have a lot more to give than that. So then I do have a couple great examples of, this is one that came from the Invest Her group, that one of the investors, let me see if it's gonna, all right, here we go. So this is like a one-page snapshot, right, for a track record. So you have the address of the property, you have your basic, your basic data of it, what the project, how it performed, scope of work, so they know exactly what you did on it, and a little bit of stats on it, and some before and after photos. How cool is that? Everybody's going to totally eat that up and dig it. So you create, these in the same format, you put it together. Anytime you get a new project, you put it in the same format, and you always have that kind of waiting there for the next person who wants to see it, who wants to share with it. Let's see here. I want to try to give you guys like a wide breadth of examples. So I'm going to give you one more example from my stuff, and I do have some before and after stuff. But we want to stay on time. All right, so can you see this? Crystal Beach Drive? Everybody seeing it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is an information sheet that I put together for, at this point in time, this was a vacation rental that we owned in Destin, Florida, right? So I had anything in our portfolio was seen in the same exact format, so I could share it with lenders, and they want to know, again, that you're organized and that your stuff makes sense. So you see here, I was tracking everything: insurance stuff, real estate taxes, rental information, property management info, basic property info, lending, bank account stuff. It's a snapshot. And for me, it was an Excel spreadsheet. Each tab was a different property, but it looked exactly like this. So a lender's going to cruise through and they're going to see all of the details, everything they want to know. And really, it's for them to get that overall picture of, oh man, she's organized. She knows, she knows what she's doing. So whatever format that needs to be in for you guys, that's what has to happen. That's the deal. And it's got to be you, and it's got to be, well, organized and I guess comfortable. So I did have a couple websites that I went to. And I will share those. So Nighthawk Equity, right? It's Michael Blanc, if anybody's familiar with him. He is a multifamily syndicator. And I'm hoping this link popped up. Hang tight. Stay there, guys. All right. So new share. Here we go. So Michael Blanc creates his, can you see it? Nighthawk Equity? Cool.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So he kind of creates his track record on his website, right? He's trying to not fish necessarily, but this is his lead funnel, right? He wants people to come on here, see about his company, see what they're up to, check out their portfolio, be able to dig in on each of the different, members of the equity group, and then wants them to join in to potentially be a passive investor down the line. So he starts out here, everywhere he has a chance, he wants you in to join his investing club, of course. So he, he teaches you a little bit, teaches you, on the way down. But as you get down towards the bottom a little bit more, he's highlighting. This is kind of a little bullet points right here. Keep joining the club. That's the 4th time I've seen that. Now he does a little video where he intros himself. And so this is something that you guys could create potentially, testimonials from anybody that you've worked with, whether that's in a real estate function or not. And then, you get the people right here. You can click on the people, learn more about them. Track record. I mean, they put it just point blank on there. This is their track record. This is what they're doing. The portfolio. Now you can see some of the projects that they've done. Immediately it creates some form of trust, right? They have a track record. It's reasonable. It's what you're going there for specifically. So they're already answering your questions. And then of course you join the investor club again at the bottom for like the 10th time. You better join the investor club. But this is just an example of kind of using your website as your company's resume. If not your personal resume, it's just a different way because he raises capital. So that's an example of that. And I have one example of a wholesaler and they're using their Facebook pages. And I'll stop my examples. And I realize it's enough examples. I just want you guys to have an idea. Also, if you go on Bigger Pockets, I don't know if everybody's Bigger Pockets fans. If you go into their forms area, their tools, I think it is, where their forms are, and you can type in, real estate bio, real estate resume, and see what some other people are doing. Potentially download some Word docs to where you don't have to start from scratch and create something on your own. All right, last little piece, guys. If I can get to it, of course. Now this is a Facebook page that doesn't necessarily give a real estate resume, but it creates social proof, which is what people, people are drawn to that as well. So let me see. Share screen. Here we go. So this is a wholesaler, right? So you go on here, they have their sorry guys, I don't want to see more of these guys on Facebook, even though I'm currently stalking them on Facebook. All right, so let me move this little thing. All right, so they have all their contact info, they have their website. If you go to their website, it does the same sort of thing Michael Blanc's does. It creates that lead funnel for you, which is an entirely different topic. But they have, really, they have their posts on here. They have articles. They have education pieces. They keep, bringing you back around to their website, of course. So you kind of just want to create a whole picture of yourself. If you are going to be in real estate or are, want to be in real estate, you've got to create the whole image. And you want the image to be for real. So that's the deal. Those are my examples, guys. For me, again, I have a small bio. I have my resume that's more detailed with my professional experience. I have my track record, which I have it in a couple different formats, but I'm sure you guys saw enough examples from me. And so Alex, to finish our puppy up, the last section of this, guys, is after you've created what your monster that you want to create, it's getting feedback. And so you want to be able to, send it out to friends and family, whether that's in PDF or whether that's in a Word doc. You want to tell them what they're looking at and, what sort of feedback are you looking for? Obviously you want open and honest and just easy, open, honest, and easy for them. So, but you don't want to necessarily lead them to exactly what you're looking for. Like, tell me how beautiful it is. You want them to feel like they can be honest with you on it, and ask for feedback by a specific time, or else we all know how busy we get and it kind of just lingers out there and you're only looking for a couple pieces. Some questions you can ask them to get, more specific on that. Let's see here. I wrote a couple down because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. What did you think about the format? What did you find hard to understand? Was it easy to understand overall? If you were partnering with me or investing in a deal of mine, what else would you want to know? Did you lose interest? And what possibly could keep your, help keep your interest? And so, and again, Alex and I are happy to give any feedback if if anyone creates one and kind of wants somebody to put it through the gauntlet and not necessarily pick it apart by any means, be mildly gentle with criticism and feedback. Alex and I are more than happy to do that, and our contact info will be on on the back page. Especially if you're struggling to find somebody in your sphere. Maybe you're new to real estate and nobody even knows anything about it or knows what a good real estate resume kind of would look like. So we're happy to help out there. So what's next, guys? You have this real estate resume, and it's there. It's a living document. You can add things to it. What really comes next is the fact that you need to learn how to do a deal pitch. So now in reality, you're sending off to hopefully a lender or a partner a potential deal. So you have your real estate resume ready, and now it's just preparing a one-page deal pitch. This would be for something in the single family to small multifamily, probably not your larger multifamily with 25 units and up. Even less than that probably. So maybe 10 units and up, you would need something a little more intense. But next time we're going to kind of run through just a one-page deal pitch. We're going to assume your real estate resumes are sharp, ready to go, and then we're going to talk about what to add into a deal pitch and where to find the information that you're going to add there and how to put your presentation together. So that's it for me. This is me and Alex right here. Here's our contact info. We would love to hear from anybody. And again, in September, we'll be doing the preparing a one-page deal pitch sort of little class, putting it out there. And then, after it's recorded, we'll put it out on YouTube and Facebook as well for anyone. So that's it. Erica Osborn, though. Think Real Estate Team. Alex Breshears. Alex, please tell us more about you real quick, where people can find you and your private lending lessons Facebook page.
Yes. So there's a couple different ways to get a hold of me. My email address is on the screen, and I'm happy to do any sort of one-on-one conversations like Erica mentioned. If you are new to real estate, you don't have any ideas, you don't, anybody that you would normally send this sort of presentation to, if they don't have a real estate background, their feedback can be valuable in certain ways, but maybe not so valuable in others. So we're happy to take a look and see what we think. I also run a Facebook group that's specifically geared towards teaching people about private lending, both from the perspective of doing private lending and also looking for to learn more about how to work with a private lender. So that's how I kind of got roped into this, because I've gotten sent all sorts of things. I had an investor send me 70 photos over Facebook Messenger one day, and it bogged down my phone so much for the entire day. So I like to at least educate people on how to have a professional, streamlined presentation if you are going to go work with a private money lender, sort of what the expectations are. And my website is infiniteroadinvestments.com, which is just the back part of my email address. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, I'm very active in the Facebook group. So you can join the Facebook group and you'll see my name all over the place there. So feel free to send me a message on Facebook as well.
Guys, that's it. So thanks for joining us tonight. It's 7 o'clock. We want to stay timely for everybody. We know that people have stuff to do, but thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And please,
Thank
if
you,
have
everybody.
questions, please reach out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.